When I started playing this game, I loved the Teutons. Free murder holes in Castle Age so your towers and castles were indestructible. Elite Teutonic Knights, cheap farms, it had everything that I felt like was needed to win a game. And then I got more experienced, and then I realized, wait a second, people aren't really picking Teutons, what's up with this? There's so many bonuses, and I think many of you guys maybe were thinking along the same lines. Well, good news. Just the other day, Teutons were buffed, so you might see more of them. And take a look at this. The barracks and stable units now receive a +1 melee armor bonus in the Castle Age and Imperial Age, so that's an extra +2. And also, the Teutonic Knight speed has been increased hypers. Now, a couple things to get out of the way here. I will have something to tell you at the very end, but the text might look a little bit wonky, the layout might look a little bit wonky. I just spent all day casting some games for the Red Bull Wololo tournament on twitch.tv/Red Bull, and I didn't feel like making any changes that might make things awkward for the show on Twitch tomorrow. So, sorry if the layout looks a bit different. It still has necessary information for the most part. But MBL is here in the yellow. MBL is playing as the Teutons. And Luca, a young player from Canada, is playing as the Mayans. I believe they played 11 games in a row. Luca picked Mayans every single game. I think that's all he picks, actually. He doesn't play with anything else. So he's very experienced with Mayans, one of the better civs on 1v1 Arabia. And he's a solid player as well. So this might disappoint you slightly. We are still going to see all the Teuton strengths, believe me. But this is actually played with pre-buff Teutons. There haven't been many Teuton games that I could upload to you guys, so I wanted to talk about it. I want to hear your thoughts on YouTube on where you think Teutons will stand. There's so many bonuses they have, right? I mean, they have their units resist conversions. They have some of the best economy in the game. They have paladins. They have the Teutonic Knights. They have champion. They have hand cannon. I personally think that this civilization will be seen a lot more consistently. And I think that maybe just one pro player needs to start having some realistic success with them and more serious games until the meta starts to shift and players start picking Teutons more frequently. So if you're a Teuton person out there, there is hope that Teutons will become more meta in the future. Now, MBL won various times with Teutons against Luca, and in many of those games, MBL was going fast castle, because what Luca does, again, always picks Mayans, he tends to just wall his base and go fast castle himself, or he goes for militia fast castle. Super boring, if I'm being honest with you. Like I said, it happened like various times, but MBL's at home right now, pushing some deer and trying to work his way up to feudal age and get to some Teuton strengths, as I call it. But I want to hear your Teuton story, YouTube. I have so much to say right now. I'm so hyped up. But I want to hear your Teuton story. Maybe you guys didn't pick Teutons, but for me, I used to pick Teutons a lot. Funny story, I used to think that the free murder holes applied to feudal age as well. So the Teuton tower rush is really strong because you can fit more villagers inside of the towers. But when I got tower rushed by Teutons, didn't realize that I could fight the towers, because I thought murder holes was in feudal age, and that was not the case. Maybe there's a few people out there who are wowed by that themselves right now. But yeah, what civ did you play? Did you play a lot of Teutons when you were a noob? What was the deal? Luca, not only try hard with the Mayans pick, hey, he's playing against a pro player, give it a shot. But he also will pick off that villager. MBL was not quick enough to wall him in. So Luca picks a civ which is top 5 on Arabia. A civ that he's played with hundreds of times and already has a bit of a lead. Keep in mind that Mayans start with extra villagers. They start with 4 villagers instead of 3. So you see that lead there. He's already beginning to wall. Mayans always get loom at the start as well. And this is pretty much the most boring way you can play Age of Empires 2, if you were to ask me to be honest. Lame, full wall, fast castle every single game. MBL realizing that that's probably going to be the case. He's actually blindly thinking about going fast castle. Can't attack that villager, remember, since Mayans get loom at the start since they're pop capped. You guys are probably wondering, what will we see? This was pre-buff Teutons, so if it's strong, whatever it is, it could be even stronger now. Surely MBL won't be able to boom to get to Teutonic Knights and to get a Siege Onager and Bombard Cannon and Champion and all the Teuton options. You've got to be kidding me. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Okay. So basically, I went to MBL's stream to see if I could find some information about the game. He was offline, and I said in his Twitch chat, I was like, hey, you should start the game already, because I felt like he was going to go online tonight. And he literally just went live, and I thought we'd start to hear him say, like, Teutons, you know. So I had to tab out real quick to mute that. My apologies. So no feudal age click yet. I haven't used this overlay since the Red Bull tournament, so I think everything beyond the text looking a bit weird and the format being weird should be working properly. You can see the technologies or lack of technologies and population at the top. Luca does have a stone back here, so he's going for plumed archers. Fast castle, full wall, plumed archers. Normally what you'd want to do to counter is to pressure it. Normally you would not want Teutons, a relatively slow civ against Mayans if they're going to get to those fast plumed archers. But this is a high-level player, a very strong player, and a boomer at that. Just assuming that Luca's going to do this, and assuming correctly. Like, imagine if Luca were to actually make military. If Luca were to make military, MBL's gold? It's far forward. It's really not a great map for him. But he did guess correctly. He can't see that Luca is on stone, but he also can't see another stone in here. He hasn't seen anything inside Luca's walls, so he figures, alright, well, it's probably plumed archers knowing Luca. And then another thing you can look for in this position is you can look for the blacksmith in the market. If they go blacksmith market and there's no barracks or archer range or anything like that, then it's trouble. So yeah, MBL said on his stream that he doesn't like it when people signal excessively. And let's just say Luca, knowing that, decided to do that to be annoying. So MBL got very motivated to use Teutons to their potential here. And MBL, no barracks for him. A little bit of walling might start. He'll need a blacksmith. He'll need to market himself. Resources looking better for MBL to click up. And Luca, he will build his blacksmith. He'll build his market. He's quite low on the food. Well, he has 5 farmers, and then he has 5 villagers over here. So I think he'll be fine to get the resources to click up. It's just not quite as balanced as MBL's eco is. You look at MBL's base now, there's his market, there's his blacksmith. These are the buildings you can build if you're not going for the barracks and archer range, or barracks and stable. Actually, you need barracks, archer range, blacksmith, or barracks, stable, blacksmith, and market, whatever. Anyways, you need 2 buildings. Luca ends up clicking up. MBL will have the res, just a little bit light on gold, and all he wants to do is boom. I call him the cockroach because he's able to survive in games that get messy. He will have to cockroach it up here, that's for sure. There he goes to Castle Age. But with that gold, again, just imagine if Luca made feudal age archers. Even now, if he didn't go for plumes, he could have an archer range pumping out archers, and he could be at MBL's base. Could force MBL into a world of hurt. But Luca's no slouch either. I mean, he always picks Mayans. His buddy, I'm not going to say his buddy's name, actually, because I don't want to call the guy out, and Luca might hear this, but I was just told literally 30 minutes ago by someone who plays with Luca a lot that if it was not a civ pick system, Luca would lose 200 points because he couldn't go Mayans all the time. Which I may or may not agree with, but anyways, he's, I think, around 50th, you know, on the ladder. So that, regardless of if you're civ picking or not, that's pretty impressive. Shows you his skill. Playing the game a lot, has done for a few years now. Only 16 or 17, by the way. Pretty uneventful game. This is what happens with Teutons. You guys probably know this, because I can just tell you guys are a bunch of Teuton pickers. Yeah, pretty uneventful until the late game. That's where the strength comes in. It's a slow civ. They lack husbandry. They tend to go for economy, and not a whole lot else. Where will MBL build his town center? Personally, if I'm playing an MBL's position, I can't leave my base open like this. I can't be comfortable doing that. He did see Blacksmith Market, so he knows Luca will probably build the castle. Luca's actually going to try and boom. This is fascinating. So he's going for a 2nd and 3rd town center. Maybe so MBL doesn't get ahead in the economy. But he's also not pressuring MBL. I think the better logic might be pressure, apply, do damage with plumes. The sooner you get out the plumes, the more villagers MBL will lose. I guess, as I always say, though, it does depend, doesn't it? Because if you make the plumed archers and MBL defends with siege or just with town centers and towers, then MBL might have an even bigger villager lead. This is the balance you have to strike when you're playing Age of Empires at a high level. These guys will not have TC idle time. They're going to have great micro, great compositions, great eco upgrades. But the Teuton farms are so cheap. Normally going for 3 TCs right away it's hard to keep them all producing. MBL, what I like about this town center is that it's on the wood line and also a stone, and then here you have a wood line and you have a gold. I highly recommend you guys get in the habit of doing that in your own games, because you can't have, or you shouldn't have, like 8 to 10 villagers on gold and stone at this point if you're just booming. So you can kind of divvy it up a little bit. Very easy for you to just say, oh, I have too much stone. All right, garrison in the TC and go to wood. Priorities gotta be that you have villagers on wood, right, if you want the farms. So you'll see a slow trickle of stone income, slow trickle of gold income, but now he's going for wood. Yeah, and Luca is signaling a lot, further motivating MBL to use the Teuton power. Like, you know, it's a bit excessive, right? If I were to say less than I'd like about it, it's a bit excessive. Still doing it, signaling, trying to get in MBL's head. Picking Mayans every single game. I think he lost to Teutons twice already before this. Now he's trying to get in MBL's head. Alright, so there's the siege workshop for MBL. He's making a Mangonel. He's just been house walling on this right-hand side. MBL knows he will need siege, but he hasn't seen any plumed archers yet. I think what could be really game deciding is probably this hill here. If MBL secures this hill, he secures this stone and this gold. Also, there's another gold over on this side. Also, not so easy for Luca to push that, right? If MBL has the hill, he can push this gold and stone from Luca. This is going to the Imperial Age. The teenager trying to beat the boomer. Okay, MBL's like 26, so he's not really a boomer per se, but you know what I mean. Booming away here. Now, what I really like to do with Teutons, I guess MBL can't do it yet, but the second farm upgrade, which I always forget when I'm casting for whatever reason. Heavy Plow, there we go. Heavy Plow, it's pretty expensive. I think it's 125 wood and 125 food, and it also takes a long time for the research to complete. So you oftentimes will not see pros get that in Castle Age, but I think with Teutons, because the farms themselves are so cheap, what you can do is you can afford to get that upgrade, and then all that food is going to really kick in later on in the game. With 55 villagers for MBL, he's adding his 4th town center. Again, not pressured, but also going for an unorthodox approach of adding a 5th town center. He wants to show you guys the Teuton strengths. Now remember, this was pre-buff. I think I showed this already. I should have shown this at the beginning of the video. If not, I apologize. But you will see more of Teutons soon. MBL has the Mangonel and beautiful attack rounds. They're on the Eagles. Now, this is where you have to start asking questions if you're Luca. What do you do? There's Mangonels out. So, like, if you end up going for Eagles, which is a great option against Siege, might not work out if Teutonic Knights are on the field. MBL using his starting scout, snipes a monk, will run away. His units resist conversion. We're seeing the Teuton bonus play out. There's Luca's castle. Okay, so if Luca makes plumed archers, you can use plumed archers with upgrades, which Luca will get, to micro down Mangonels. You can definitely do that. However, it better be soon because MBL is able to sustain villager production from 5 town centers. And also, if you make too many plumed archers and MBL is still able to work with siege and get those upgrades, then it's dicey. So, it always depends, of course. But I think the strategy choice from Luca was pretty much out of fear that MBL might go aggressive. He thought he could get an eco lead against the Teuton player. MBL has the lead himself right now. And MBL is probably very happy to see that there's not a lot of military out for Luca. But plumed archers will come out. Fletching will probably come in. We could maybe see a counterattack or maybe some defensive Mangonels for Luca as he's looking towards the Imperial Age. Both players' resources climbing, but MBL not as high because he has 2 extra town centers with villagers producing out of right now. Alright, so this is what MBL can see. Keep in mind, he's able to boom out of most of his TCs at the same time. He sees the monastery. He figures, I don't really need to do much. I killed a villager. He probably has his own siege on the way. Look at the micro from MBL. MBL goes for the attack round, just misses the kill, but he's dodging while booming. Good micro from Luca, too. The monk, of course, not getting the conversion. I guess the relic's gonna pop out of the monastery. What direction will it go? Okay. Luca might want to snag that one at some point. Pressure and boom. This is what I think we will see with Teutons, YouTube. I genuinely think we could see Teutons, at least on the closed maps, like Hideout. Yeah, man. Maybe not Arabia, because their here the lack of speed for Teutons hasn't really been a factor, but 82 villagers for 75. Keep in mind that MBL, he's getting wheel. Amazing Maganel micro there. He kills one. He'll probably go 1 for 1 now. Wow, okay, so MBL kills 2 Maganels with 1. Has that villager there. Building houses. There's the castle, and let's look at MBL's point of view. Remember, I said this hill would be so massive. Maybe another castle over here, another castle over here. You can see just how much map he's controlling. The sign of a good player is when they make another good player look like a poor player, or look like it makes their decisions look wrong or awkward, right? I think we've seen a bit of that here. MBL keeps his scout alive, will now heal up the scout with the monk instantly, and is just booming, guys. On his way to the Imperial Age, you start to see the technologies come in for him, and you really start to see that Vil count spike up here, because what Luca has is his TC is advancing to the Imperial Age, so they cannot create Vils from that. And then these 2 TCs are the only town centers creating new Vils. Tons of res back here. And he is massing plumes, and he'll start to push out. But MBL, with 5 TCs, 1 TC's idle, 4 TCs creating, another good Maganel shot. I think MBL is the best when it comes to Onager attack rounds or Maganel attack rounds in the game. He's incredible. Now here he gets a conversion on the Eagle. His scout's still around. Loses the monk, but what Luca does not know is that there's a castle there. So, hello, now there's a castle on the hill. You had your free boom with Mayans, with your cheap walls and your safety net back here, Luca, but you don't have the map. Okay, so I think Luca's decision has to be plumed archer upgrades, fletching just now coming in, but a second castle and probably a Trebor of some kind. Meanwhile, MBL's getting scale barding armor. This is the first military upgrade he'll be getting. He's building another castle to protect that area. 105 villagers versus 91. What's crazy about Teutons is you can be a bit lazy too with your boom, because things don't have to be quite as tight as far as the wood count goes. You're always going to have floating wood because the farms you're building are pretty cheap, and 43 farms now for MBL. He wants to go for some big technologies. Luca sending the plumed archers out this way. This is all, we're just building up. Alright, this is the build up to the big bang of Teutons. Luca sees the gold, he's thinking, I can pressure that. I can pressure that. He only has fletching now. He's also getting scale. He's also getting infantry upgrades at the moment. So maybe he wants MBL to think that he's going heavy into plumed archers. He wants to get through here. It's very possible he could get through. He takes out the house foundation. He runs through. He doesn't see the town center yet, but he kills a few villagers. There's only 20 behind now, but there's 20 idle for MBL. Bit of a risky game to play. MBL getting chain barding armor. Now remember, when this civilization is buffed, there will be extra melee armor on the paladins. And the attack round from MBL! Like I said, he just knows where you're gonna go. Hide your kids, hide your wife. MBL with his Maganels. Disgusting. But yeah, he's starting off with Cavalier, so I believe he probably looked. Notice the plumes were heavily upgraded. And wants to go for Paladins instead. While they don't get Husbandry, Paladins are a bit faster. So it would make sense over Teutonic Knights for now. He does control the game though. And with Crenellations, his castles could have some insane range. Luca has pikemen, so he's expecting the cav. He also has some plumes. And MBL realizes, okay, I've got to start spending my resources. Here's a few stables creating. Catching up on upgrades now. Cavalier on the way. He's placing another castle here, which is fascinating, so he knows how important that is. Doesn't seem like he's in a big rush, does he? 135 villagers, and is MBL still creating vills? He is. He's not done. Handscar about to kick in. Once that's complete, the villagers he does have will be even more efficient. Crop rotation. Those farms will last forever now. Plenty of gold for MBL. No relics. I'll quote MBL, and I actually don't know which Teuton game it was because he's been playing Teutons recently, but he said, I don't need relics because I'll kill fast. The confidence with Teutons. And Luca, really? He knows he needs to kill the castle, so he felt like taking the Trebs there would be the play? But the thing about these Teutonic Knights is they have so much melee armor. That's base melee armor. And this is, they always had the melee armor before the recent buff, so it's going to be identical to what they'll have soon. But it's 5 melee armor. Actually, don't quote me on that. I don't think it will be identical to what their max is with this recent buff. It'll be close. And then, as MBL gets more upgrades, these things will do great against the Halberdiers. Feel bad for Luca only because of the hill. Everything else, I think he brought in himself. His style, he brought in himself. The signaling to MBL, he brought in himself. He has brought whatever pain is coming his way on himself. But that hill, seriously, difficult to push up that. And props to him for taking that out. He's building his own castle now, so he can take that stone and take that gold. And I think plumes and eagles or plumes and halbs, that's the strength of the Mayans. That is what the Mayans want to be going for 99% of the time. Can Luca do this again? MBL, he has Cav. He has full armor. He's also getting chemistry so he can make bombard cannons. MBL, he said, I don't want him to die fast. I want more technologies. I want to show people the power of Teutons. The KP boys are here. Look at them waddle. They're faster now, guys. This will not be my my first Teutons upload, trust me. 4 trebuchets for MBL. Iron casting now. So he has... What I like about him getting the attack upgrades here, it's natural when he's invested into as much Cavalier as he has, but Iron casting will also apply to the Teutonic Knights. And he doesn't need to invest too heavily into the upgrades on the Teutonic Knights anyways. But just having a few things, a few of them sprinkled in against full pointy boys and halberdiers is very nice. 157 vills, by the way. MBL's still creating them. And here a siege workshop. And MBL's probably thinking, well, I can make bombard cannons. I can also research Onager, because the Mangonels worked well for me. So why not Onager? And meanwhile, Luca's still thinking, man, I have to push up the hill. What's funny is he's going to this gold, he's going to this stone. I have to give Luca props because he's going to have 2 relics, 1 of the extra golds. He has 70 military. That's actually the benefit of being Mayans, is that their military is cheap. And then their resources last longer. But MBL's military, Teuton military, is not cheap. It's just near impossible to stop once it gets rolling. How would you feel, YouTube? If you see this on the hill, I would... I'm a bit of a coward when I cast anyways. But caster me would consider resigning before letting MBL slaughter this, because... good God. Do you really want to give MBL the highlight? And Luca, as he's going to lose this castle, will place another castle over here, sees the golds. What a difficult position to push. Now, he could consider microing against the Onagers. He has the quality to do that. He's a very quick player. But against multiple Onagers, it's tough, and there's obviously a huge risk associated with it. You see the Cavalier come in. The Cavalier, they'll need some... Actually, the Cavalier will be fine on their own. It's only against the Plumes, though. And now the Onagers come out, you can see the power of Onager. A few Halberdiers come in, the only melee that Luca has, but there's hand cannons, there's Teutonic Knights, there's everything! There's just everything, and MBL's getting a lead Teutonic Knight now. So good luck getting in close to this death ball. And this is buffed. This civilization has been buffed. MBL's made it look really easy, and Luca could have pressured more in early game, so we could talk more about how the strength of Teutons is strong in post-imp, but maybe their weakness in mid-game is the struggle still, but MBL still bringing in resources. He does not seem too concerned with pushing. I think he just wants to get as many upgrades as possible. Look at these Teutonic Knights. Look at them go up the hill. They don't skip leg day, and MBL doesn't skip Onager day. Luca, see what Plumes can do against just regular Onager? It's not bad. Yeah. Oh, he was close there. MBL repairing. MBL says, I'll do this again. I'll take out your castle. And now he's researching Siege Onager. Still has resources in the bank. The Halberdiers cannot take good fights here. All Luca's hoping for is to take out the Trebs, I believe. And boom! Another shot. The Teutonic Knights, look how little damage they take. I'm pretty sure they take 1 damage from a Halb. And they're 100 HP. 1 damage. Sickening. Now they take a lot of damage from plumed archers, but if there's not many plumed archers remaining, best of luck to you, Luca. Luca has to run back. Really sucks that he wanted to go plumes because the castles have now gone down, except for this one. So he won't have that many castles to produce plumes from. He'll lose his trebuchets over here. MBL also might see the gold, but he seems pretty focused on getting the big highlight shots because Siege Onager is on the way. But imagine if the Teutonic Knights are faster. They are faster now after the buff. I've seen it a few times. It's just that this game we really saw the strength of Teutons. And also, it's always nice when there's a bit of drama in the beginning, too. Luca being disrespectful with the signals. Makes some people in the comments be like, haha, he's trying to get into the head of the opponent. It's smart. Other people are like, show some respect, you know. Makes you guys get into it more. But, oh, boy, Siege Onager! Yeah, Mayans cannot fight Siege Onager. This is unbeatable. It's not just unbeatable when it's Mayans though. Most civilizations can't beat this. And MBL is going for every attack round he can think of. Luca is just dodging with the plumes. Meanwhile, the pointy boys not doing so well against the elite Teutonic Knights, right? The full upgrades on them now, guys. The full upgrades on the Cav, full upgrades on the Siege. And Luca's falling further and further and further back. You can't do that in war. Well, you can, but you can't expect to hold onto your base and hold onto your people and hold onto your relics and everything else. Only a few Siege Onagers. Now, what's also really sick is that MBL has Ironclad, a unique technology, which means that even the Siege Onagers have melee armor, making it more difficult for any melee units to come in and kill the Siege Onagers. Teutons have always had that. But I think now we might be getting to the point where we see Teutons played more, and we see how unstoppable they can be in post-imperial, which is exciting for me. Because if Luca wasn't Mayans, and let's say he was Huns, and he made Hussars, which would be the play against the Siege Onagers, because they're speedy, and they're melee, it would take even longer to take them out. A death ball of elite Teutonic Knights and Siege Onagers just seems unbeatable. MBL slaughtering units. Can continue to do so here, and oh my goodness! Oh, and Luca tries to split, but it's all gone. Oh no, it's all gone. Teutons, man. Teutons. MVL wins the game with 225 kills, 49 deaths. Again, my apologies that the overlay wasn't quite as organized as usual. That'll be fixed for the next upload, but wow. So basically, I want your thoughts. I want your thoughts on this game. Luca picked Mayans every single game on Arabia, as far as I can tell. I know they played each other like 10 times too, and Luca would always be Mayans, and MBL's been picking Teutons a lot to experiment. So I guess give me your thoughts on the strategy Luca went for in this game, right? Personally, and it's easy to say because hindsight's always 20/20, probably wasn't the best idea to let MBL boom. Also, you could argue that since Teutons are so good defensively, it would have put him further behind if he did try and pressure. So there is that. Also, give me your thoughts on Teutons as a whole. Do you think Teutons will be picked? I know that some of these high-level players are going to experiment with them because that's what people want to see. And people are here to deliver, but are they going to be top 10? I think right now, we'll see a lot of them, I think, on closed maps, on maps where you can boom, which normally isn't Arabia. We'll see more Teutons over the next couple weeks. And I, of course, will be looking for the best Teuton games, whether that's team games or 1v1s, and bringing you the highlights. There were other civilizations that were buffed, and the recent patch, I'll put the patch information in the description if you want to take a look. But fun stuff with new Teutons. Technically old Teutons, but I apologize, this might be a bit deceiving. I'm calling it new Teutons because Wow, there haven't been Teuton games quite this good where someone's been able to get to those technologies. 34,000 food collected in a 47-minute game. There are people watching this which can't even reach Castle Age by 47 minutes. I'm sorry. Cheap shot, okay? I didn't say your name. We're fine. More stone collected, more gold collected for MBL. This is without a single relic. He had 43 researches, an Imperial Age of 3048 with 6 TCs. Sickening, sickening, sickening stuff. As for my upload schedule, if you guys are curious, I know that a lot of hits has been coming in on the YouTube channel recently, so you guys have been paying attention, which is cool. So I'm uploading this on what for me is a Saturday evening or night. Depends on how quickly I get the thumbnail from my editor. And then on Sunday night, so probably 24-ish hours after the upload of this video, I should have a... I'm actually looking. I think it will be low Elo Legends. And then there might even be like 2 low Elo Legends. I have a really long game, which was wild. And then I have another game, which was very fitting for the series. Leading into some streams on Monday, too. I'll be streaming Monday. I might actually be playing with Teutons if you guys are down for it on my stream on Monday. And then Tuesday, all day, will be low Elo Legends. But anyways, thanks for watching. If you want more Teutons, if you want more classic Age of Empires, I think my recommended video on the top right or top left of your screen will be an old Teutons upload where the Viper played. That was pretty freaking cool, but they're stronger now, and I can't wait to see more of them. Thanks, chat. You're the best. Or, wait, not chat. Comments? YouTube? I'm bad at this. Sorry. We'll see you next time.